What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam, this is Vancity Audi, and this is the third dyno day I have now hosted here at Racing Greed. The first one was B9, S4s, S5s, and SQ5s. The second one was four gentlemen from the track that drag race with me all the time. We tested out a bunch of off-brand vehicles to see how much power they made on this dyno here at Racing Greed. The third video, and what you're gonna see today, is a bunch of DAZAs. Those are 2.5 liter single turbo 5-cylinder motors found in TTRS's and RS3's. Now, I did my best to reach out to as many locals as I could to find out a bunch of different cars with different tunes. I reached out to everybody that I could, and sadly, a bunch of Unitronic guys were pretty much the only ones that responded. A lot of these guys, I think actually all of them, drag race with me out at the Titanium Strip Mission Raceway Park. Today I was only able to get one other freaking tuner, and that was a DS1 tuned car. We're gonna save him for last because he should make the most power using a built motor and a TTE777 hybrid turbo from the Turbo Engineers. So I'm gonna introduce you to everybody. They're gonna run through the parts, then we'll get them on the dyno. Just wanted everybody to know today that we are using DynoJet calibrated numbers on this Mustang dyno. They are uncorrected numbers. The numbers are probably gonna be pretty damn high on these cars because they're uncorrected for the weather conditions. We have a great low ambient temperature, and the DA is gonna hover between -1,000 and -1,300 for today. So everybody should be making a ton of power and a ton of torque. Let me introduce you to the first contestant, or participant we'll say, and we'll get to the action.
My name is Mike. I have a 2019 RS3 Unitronic Stage 1 Plus with a cold air intake 4-inch and a turbo inlet pipe and a Unitronic intercooler.
The brands of the inlet and the intake, are those both Unitronic as well?
All Unitronic 4-inch.
Okay, and the Stage 1 Plus file is a 93 octane file?
93.
And here are the results of the first car of the day using Unitronic Stage 1 Plus on 93 octane fuel, 477 wheel horsepower, 480 pounds-feet of torque. Now you're gonna see these up and down little wonky readings on the dyno. We do not run a lot of smoothing. This is only a smoothing level of 6. The reason why you see this, because of that Haldex controller fighting to send power rear and front. It definitely confuses the system, but a healthy looking curve and pretty damn decent results for the first car of the day.
Hi, my name is Matt Vermillion. I brought a 2018 Audi RS3 and it's tuned on a Unitronic Stage 2 93 octane. I've got a Wagner intercooler, integrated engineering intake, Unitronic 4-inch inlet, CTS downpipe and midpipe.
Second car of the day, Unitronic Stage 2 93, making less horsepower at 458 wheel horsepower, but more torque of 495 pounds-feet of torque. Now, what I'm hearing on the dyno is somewhere in the mid-range. It doesn't sound as linear as it did with the Stage 1 file. Definitely not making as much power. You can kind of see a little weird readout there. Was expecting a bit more out of this Stage 2 93 octane file.
My name is Riker. It's a 2018 Audi RS3 tuned on Unitronic Stage 2 E85. I have a STM downpipe, midpipes, integrated engineering intake, as well as a STM intercooler, and a Unitronic 4-inch turbo inlet.
This is a really fun car for me to get on the dyno because I ran this exact same tune, the exact same calibration from Unitronic, but back when I dyno tested my RS3, we did it in front wheel drive. What we noticed though on this particular dyno is the load calibration didn't work as well on my car when it was just in front wheel drive. I wasn't making as much boost as I was supposed to. Sadly, I didn't notice this until I was on to like the TTE777 testing. So this number corresponds really well to the amount of power this car is making, and probably the same amount of power I would have been making back in the days when I was running Unitronic Stage 2 E85 file. Here are the results. Unitronic Stage 2 E85 making a whopping 579 wheel horsepower and 563 pounds-foot of torque. Now that is one healthy ass looking graph. The only thing I see is a little dip right there, but everything else looks pretty damn smooth. Keep in mind this car has a Cyvex all-wheel drive controller. That's why everything is so much more smooth and more linear versus the pump gas tunes as well that were a lot more jaggedy. Ethanol does run smoother, creates a better power curve, but also that Haldex all-wheel drive controller takes a big toll on that. But some pretty epic numbers for Stage 2 E85.
Hi guys, my name is Michael. I have the 2019 TTRS running on Unitronic Stage 3 93 file. CTS intercooler. I have the Unitronic 4-inch intake and the inlet. I have the CTS downpipe, of course injectors and spark plug, and then I have a TTE777 hybrid turbo.
Our first really surprising numbers for the day, 541 wheel horsepower and 515 pounds-feet of torque out of a TTE777 on 93 octane. Extremely low and not what we were expecting. Back to the up and downs on pump gas and no Cyvex controller, nowhere near what we were expecting. So I think we're gonna do something about that. So as you guys can see behind me, I have made a list of all the different cars and the amount of power that they've made on each of their tunes. Now we were really surprised with how low those numbers were on Michael's TTE777. Just wanted to remind everyone that we are using just straight pump gas. On my videos, on pump gas files, I always blend additional ethanol. Our fuel isn't the greatest here in the Lower Mainland, Vancouver, BC, Canada, that's where we're located. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna spike it with additional ethanol. We're still gonna be running the exact same calibration, the exact same 93 octane tune meant for the 777, but this is gonna have a bunch more octane and it's gonna cool a bit better and it's gonna provide much better knock resistance. I imagine we're gonna make significantly more power. How much more power, I'm not sure, but that's why we're gonna do more runs with additional ethanol. We'll try to aim for about an E20 level on these next runs. Just with one run on E20, we made 611 wheel horsepower and 554 for the torque. We didn't let it adapt, we just did one done and run. Look at how much more power. The mid-range is a little confused trying to figure it out, but we looked at the logs. He made 6 degrees more peak timing advance from that additional ethanol, showing that not all pump gas is the same, and if you guys blend in ethanol into your pump gas, you can attain much, much better performance out of your cars.
My name is Andrew. This is my 2018 Audi TTRS. It's tuned by DS1 by Darren over at Double D Tuning. It's a fully built motor on a TTE777 built over at Kyle at Rider Performance. We have a CTS intercooler, CTS downpipe, midpipe, and intake. We have a IROS low pressure fuel pump, and we're on 980cc Unitronic injectors. We also have the Uni 4-bar map sensors. I have the 4-inch Unitronic inlet.
First DS1 car on the channel, all the best. Let's see how it does. So here's the map 1 on the DS1 powered TTRS, making 711 wheel horsepower, 593 pounds-feet of torque. Some pretty damn looking graphs there, a nice flat torque curve, and the power climbing for days. What he wants to do though is run map number 2 now and see if he can make any more power. Now on map 2, he was running more boost, at least that's what he was told by his tuner, and for some reason, he made less horsepower. 706 wheel, 600 for the torque. The curves look pretty much identical, so we're not too sure what happened with that one. We were expecting more out of the car, and hopefully next time out, he'll be able to make more power on that second map. Now that we've wrapped up all the cars, here's a summary of the day's performances. Mike with his Uni Stage 1 Plus 93 made 477 and 480. Matt in his Uni Stage 2 93 made 458, which was less than the Stage 1 Plus, but 495 for the torque, making more torque. Randy in his Stage 2 E85 car made 579 and 563, which is just incredible out of a stock turbo. Michael on his Uni Stage 3 93.777 file was very, very underwhelming with straight pump gas at 541 and 515. Once we ramped it up with that E20 blend, holy hell, it broke loose with 611 and 554. Then thankfully Andrew came in with his DS1 tune so we can get something else other than Uni content. Map 1 E85, he made 711 wheel horsepower, 593 pounds-foot. And for that second run, which he's not too sure why it didn't work out, he is expecting to make more power on that second map. He made a little less at 706 and 600. Well, that's a wrap out here at Racing Greed. Thank you so much to all the guys for coming out with their RS3's and their TTRS's. I apologize again for it being a freaking Unitronic fest. The exact same thing happened in my B9 video where the majority of cars were IE, but what can I say? The majority of people here see me at the racetrack and they know me and they see how well my cars perform. So they end up wanting to do the same things I do, and that's Unitronic in my RS3 and integrated engineering in my B9. So as much as I try to get everybody out here on these days to just have fun, I don't care what tune you're running, I don't care what parts you're running, that's what ends up happening. A lot of the locals go with the stuff that I'm using. So I apologize for not having a ton of brands. But that was a lot of fun, as all of these were 3 dyno days on back-to-back weekends. Thank you to all of the participants that came out. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I'm not too sure what's going to be coming on the channel shortly. I'm still figuring that out, but I do have one more video film that you might want to stick around and see. It's on one of my favorite Audis, an RS6. So stay tuned for that one to come. We've tested out a brand new performance part, and we're gonna see how much power it makes back here on the dyno at Racing Greed. So until then, thank you so much for watching. Take care.